And this is actually the start of a fig tree. Hey guys, welcome back to the homestead. My name is Mike. It is finally spring. Oh my gosh, it was a freezing cold winter and a really cold beginning of the spring, March and April. And we're finally getting through it into some warmer days now. The flowers are budding, birds are chirping, things are going in the direction of spring and summer, which is what we love here on the homestead because we love to grow food and really just enjoy the outdoors. So in this video, we're going to be unwrapping our fig trees, and that's the big thing behind me with it under the tarp. And I'll show you guys how I unwrap fig trees from large to small because I have a variety here on the property. I'll also show you guys what the plans are for the spring and summer and show you some of the losses or some of the challenges that we came through on the other end of a really cold winter. So let's jump right into this video and I'll show you guys around. All right, so before we go and start the unwrapping of these fig trees here, these are what's under these buckets, I want to just bring you guys to the greenhouse. I'll show you guys some of the bad news first. Here we are. These are all fig trees that I made last year and that I was planning on selling this spring to the marketplace, right? However, we had a really cold winter and I believe that all of these fig trees are dead, unfortunately. At least they died back to their root systems, but even some of the root systems that they looked so good and healthy when I planted them, and you could still see some of the remnants, but guys, I don't think these are gonna make it. This is a dead tree. So, yeah, that's the bad news. I think all of these fig trees that I had made last summer, I just don't think they made it through the winter. I put them in some cold storage. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. And it failed. It was just a straight up failure, guys. It happens. That's part of, it's part of it. Even our larger trees, I believe, had some serious dieback, which is a bummer. It is a bummer, but they say if you don't win, you learn. And in this case, we learned a hard lesson. But we're not gonna give up, guys. We are not gonna give up on the fig tree, twigs, figs projects that we love to do. You know, lessons are learned, and we learned that sometimes you gotta improvise and you gotta take 2 steps back even though you took 1 step forward. So let me go show you guys the fig trees that we still have in cold storage, the ones that we put in for the winter, and I'll show you why I think that project failed, and then we'll go and open up the fig trees that, you know, are wrapped up and well established. We shouldn't have had very much dieback on those. All right, so here's our, this is like our little makeshift shed here. It's actually the back of a truck with some doors attached to it, and this is where I put our fig trees for the winter. And as you can see, there's some trees that haven't come out. I thought that this structure being enclosed and everything would be enough to protect the trees from the freezing frost winter, but unfortunately I don't think it was, because these all had the same scenario as the ones in the greenhouse, some pretty significant dieback. And these are our larger trees, the ones that, we were planning on planting in the ground. The good news here is, yes, there's some dieback at the tip. They break pretty easily. However, it's pretty green in there. It's still pretty green. And when I come lower on the branches, they don't seem to want to break. So I think, guys, that these larger 3-gallon pots here, I don't think they died completely. I think that they just might have had some dieback at the tips, and they're still alive down in the root system. So we're gonna cross our fingers, we're gonna pull these out, and let's get these in the sunshine because the forecast is showing there is no more freezing days. trees out of here and we moved them out. So they're out in the sun now. Now this won't be their permanent spot. But again, guys, I think all these little 1 gallon pots, all of this here, I think these are all died. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm gonna leave them in, I'll water them. I don't wanna rip all of them out just in case there's some life in the root systems that might come back. We'll see. So I'm gonna give these some good water. I think these larger pots back here, they might have made it. And yeah, we're gonna see. All right, so the next stop here on our fig tree unwrapping journey is our small, these are like 1 foot tall trees. These are trees I planted the year before last, and they didn't really do too much in that first year. The second year they grew a lot, which was last year, and we were able to prune them down small and to get them underneath a 5 gallon bucket, which is another great way to store a fig tree that's in the ground over winter if it's small enough. You can scale up to like a garbage can size as well, and it just gives a nice hard shell around the tree itself to protect it from the snow and ice and cold temperatures. So let's unwrap these, or let's take the buckets off, and we'll see what they look like underneath and if there was any dieback, which we're kind of expecting. So we'll start off with the first one in the row. And now this here is a dark Portuguese fig tree, which is a really, really good tree. It puts on a ton of small little black figs. We don't know what to expect with this. Yeah, doesn't look good, guys. It looks like there was actually more dieback than I would have liked to see, and that's kind of a bummer. But you know what? We had a really cold winter, and we're gonna see who's a true hardy, cold hardy fig tree and who isn't. So dark Portuguese, it is cold hardy, but maybe not as cold as the New Jersey winters get. So let's see what this one does in a couple weeks, and hopefully we'll see it come back to life. Moving down the line here, I believe what we have under bucket number 2, Lynhurst White. So let's take this bucket off, and wow, guys, look at that. If you guys can see that, this all died back, right? This was the Lynhurst White. Here's the tag right there, Lynhurst White. And this is actually the start of a fig tree. It's coming right off of that dead branch. And this is why, guys, I never rip trees out of the ground that that look dead, because you just never know. Here, this is all dead up here, just like that dark Portuguese over there. But this is some brand new growth, and it's only April, so this is gonna grow really big and tall in the growing season. I'm happy to see this, and if you look right next to it, this was the original cutting that we put in the ground. I used some cellophane or some kind of plastic and rooted it, and now it's growing in a completely different spot. Number 3 in the line of our little trees is the, let me think if I can remember it. Whoa, that's a big weed that was growing inside of that bucket. This is our yellow Longneck. So I use these metal tags. I really enjoy these. Yellow Longneck, and we planted it in 2024, and this dandelion should not be growing here. Let's pull this out of here so we can get a good look at the tree and if there's any growth coming from the bottom here. And if you guys can see that little tiny green dot there, that is some green growth. So this tree did indeed make it through the winter, although like the others, looks like there's a lot of dieback up at the upper growth, which again, I think that's going to be the common theme for all of the trees. Actually, this one didn't die back too bad. When it starts to bend like that and it doesn't just snap, that means it might not have died back as far as you think. So anyway, I'm happy to see there's a ton of green buds down in the bottom here. This is going to be a tree that comes back, so happy. Yellow Longneck was a survivor. The next fig tree in the row, honestly, guys, I forget. I think this was a Chicago Hardy. Let's take a look at the tag, and it is a brown turkey. That's what we got there. So these are pretty hardy, guys. These brown turkey fig trees are known to be extremely cold hardy. They're grown in our region by just about every fig tree grower. Oh, and there's a colony of ants growing or living amongst our fig tree. And actually, I could see some green growth. Let's see if you guys can catch that on the camera. Down where my finger is, let me move this out of the way. This little, right where my finger's moving, there's a green leaf. That's a fig tree leaf. I'm happy to see it. This tree's gonna come back. It's gonna be really strong and happy. Although there is, again, dieback on the branches. When they snap like that, they're generally dead, and that was to be expected. So even though this is a very cold hardy variety, here's another green leaf right where my finger is. That's coming off of the fig tree. That's a good sign. Even cold hardy trees can experience dieback on some really cold winters. Let's move down the line, which is the Chicago hardy. So let's take the old bucket off and see what we got. Oh, this one I actually tied up. That's, you know, kind of unusual for me to do that, and it probably didn't matter because I bet you all the branches are dead anyway. So bummer, big bummer. Yep, these are all snapping just like the others. However, let's move some of the leaves. I packed these with leaves to try to preserve the root system. That was before I figured it was a really cold winter. And there we go, guys. Look at that. You can see right there is a green little leaf, green little bud, and that is an indicator that this tree or bush is gonna live. Hey, there's a familiar tree. This is the fig tree that we made a video on in the fall. One of my more recent videos. I made a video about how to wrap a fig tree. So let's see if I did a good job. This one I'm feeling really confident about because I really wrapped it a couple times with this tarp. The tarp was a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be. So it has a lot of good layers, which probably favored in our benefit with this really cold winter we had. So let me get this unwrapped and we'll check it out. So there it is. It's still wrapped up. I'm gonna unwrap it, but I wanted to show you guys this. I thought I had a big green bud growing, and I saw this thing here. This is a snail, guys. Check this thing out. Yeah, that's a, I don't know if it's a little blurry, but yeah, that's a, that is not a bud of a fig at all. A little bit of a snail, so we don't want him hanging out. I don't know if he causes any harm, but I definitely don't know if he causes any good. So we'll put him in a nice, safe place. Let's go and place him delicately at the base of this rhododendron here, so he can live the rest of his life over there and not on my fig tree. So let's get this finished up. She's open, and we got great news with this one. Just like I was hoping, my hopes came true. And if you look at this, watch what happens when I scrape this bark back a little bit with my fingernail. You can see it is really, really green and actually pretty wet in there too. So that means that this didn't die back. And when I try to go and snap it, that is not dead at all. Look at that bend. That's not dead. So really good news. This tree didn't die back at all. It looks like maybe like, oh, there it goes. It opened up a little bit. So maybe just this inch is dead at the tip, but you could kind of see, I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of hard on the camera, but it's like a grayer brown here, and then right underneath this node, it becomes that nice green, darker green brown color. So really good stuff. This tree did not die back. We should have really good figs on this, and this is going to be its 4th year this year, so we're going to see some super tall growth. I keep it pretty short. This thing can grow 6 feet, 8 feet in a year. So we'll see how big it gets. I'll definitely give you guys some updates on this one as we get into the growing season. All right, so we're back where we started now on the last and the biggest fig tree and the oldest one, and which basically started this whole YouTube channel. So this is the star of the show here. And we're gonna unwrap it, and we're gonna hope we have the same results that we had on the medium-sized tree that we just unwrapped. So let's get the tarps off, let's get the ropes off, let's unwrap this thing, and we'll see what we got. All right, so from face value, it looks pretty good. I'm doing that bend test, so like let's grab the branch up top, and as I bend, it doesn't seem like it's snapping, so it's definitely not all dead, but all these little diameter branches, they just snap right off. Like, you know, these little tiny guys, which I'm not so upset about. I mean, usually I prune these off anyway. I left it a little bit dense in the winter, or during the winter pruning. Not sure why, but like as you see, most of these little guys are dead. But the big diameter stuff, that's not dead. It would snap completely if it was, and that's pretty springy. So hoping that, you know, the big beams, all these big branches coming from the base, like down here, there's some pretty big stuff. Like I can't even get my hand around this whole one. And on the bigger stuff like this down at the bottom, like we could do a scratch test here with my fingernail. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's pretty green underneath there. You know what? Matter of fact, let's use a knife. It might be a little bit easier to scrape. This bottom stuff's pretty old, so yeah, like that's pretty green in there. It's still damp to the touch. I don't think these big beams are dead. I think this is gonna come back just fine. Maybe there's some dieback up at the top layers, which I can live with, but time will tell. And I will definitely give you guys an update as the season progresses. We're only in mid-April now, which is really just the beginning of spring here in New Jersey. Weeds are starting to grow. Like we're just now getting out of winter. It's crazy. It was a cold one. All right, guys, so we're back where we started. All the trees are opened. Thanks for coming along with me. This is the end of the video here. I appreciate all the support for all the thumbs up that you guys have given me on previous videos and on this video. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah, this is a good one. So this is just the beginning. I have a lot of cool projects. We're gonna do a lot of propagation stuff this spring. If any of these 1 gallon pots did die and I don't get any young starts at the spring, I will make more this summer and I will have more to sell this fall like we did last year. So check out twigsfigs.com. I just put this website together. I was hoping to have a really cool spring sale for you guys. Might not happen anymore. However, keep an eye on that website. Save it in your bookmarks because there'll be a lot of cool fig tree sales coming up in the next couple months. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for the support, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a nice day.